Bloody hell, man. Do you know what? This is football, man. This is football in a nutshell. Big up, reluctant gamer. Big up to bro. Big up, man. Big up for coming on. You know what? This is football in a nutshell, guys. You know, who saw this happening? You know, who saw this happening? So, guys, Portugal beating Spain on penalties, 5-3. Big up to Sham. Big up, bro. Guys, listen. This is football all over for you, man. All over. I mean, first things first, you know. Portugal, they hung in there. You know, if you look at both games against Germany and against Spain, I mean, they beat a poor Germany side, obviously going 1-0 down, you know, and then showed some good resilience to come back and get through to the final. And against Spain, you know, Spain were clearly the better team. You know, as we knew, Spain would dominate possession. You know, big up to Daniela as well for coming on. As we knew, Spain would dominate possession, you know, and yeah, Portugal win the Nations League. And I'm just laughing because I never saw that coming. You know, I think before the game won the last streams, I think a few of us were saying, you know, that Spain would win this 2-0, 3-0, 3-1. And I think I have to be honest, I think Spain gave it away. You know, I think the first half they were totally dominant, you know. And I think personally, they'll be kicking themselves, man, that they've actually got beat on penalties in the end. You know, I think they were by far the better team in the first half, dominating the ball. But again, this is football for you. You know, if you don't take your chances, then, you know, football has a funny way of coming back to bite you in the arse, man. And this game definitely done that. And I think, you know what, I look at Roberto Martinez, you know, and Roberto Martinez, I have to be honest, got away with this. And I'll tell you why, yeah? Because Roberto Martinez is one of those managers that is scared to drop big names. I think what he does a lot of the time, Martinez, you know, he just tries to shoehorn players into the team. So we'll talk about Ronaldo, because obviously I know people are going to start saying, you know, Ronaldo got the goal, etc. But guys, let's not be fooled, you know. Ronaldo was very poor in that game, and obviously he got an injury as well, which forced him off. But I know people are going to look at, you know, but he scored the goal, and, you know, he's gonna be absolved of any criticism. But Ronaldo should have come off a lot earlier, you know. And again, I know he got the tap in, and we know Ronaldo, this is what Ronaldo does. But Ronaldo was poor, you know, and I don't want anyone, big up DXR, I don't want anyone getting carried away or going overboard, because yes, he got the goal, but he was poor, you know. And I did say that if he does play the game, he's going to be more of a passenger. And to be honest with you, he was. You know, he was getting beaten to the ball by Dean Howson a lot of the times. And yeah, listen, DXR, man, you can be carried away with Ronaldo, man. Big up yourself. But he was poor. And I said that, you know, if he did play, you know, he'll be a passenger in this game, because Spain dominate the ball and they would need someone more mobile, you know. But the fact that, you know, he got the goal, you know, it's good for his stats. But let's be honest, man, he was poor. Bruno Fernandes was non-existent, you know, and the best thing Bruno Fernandes done in this game was, well, I say the best thing. The only thing Bruno done in this game was complain to the referee, you know. And guys, I will get back to your questions. Don't worry. But the only thing that Bruno Fernandes done was complain to the ref, you know. And then when Ronaldo went off injured, you know, he got the captain's armband, you know. And again, Roberto Martinez is just immune to taking off players that are ineffective or that are favourites of the team. Big up to Barbara Joseph as well. And as I said, as Sham has just said, actually, Nuno Mendes, best left back in the world by far. And the thing with Nuno Mendes, you know, and I'm going to get on to Lamine Yamal in a minute, because I know people, you know, are going to start. And this is what I'm trying to say. I think Lamine Yamal has set such a high standard, is that when he falls below his normal standard, people now are going to start saying, is he overrated? And this is what football is all about. Um, but let me tell you now, yeah, Nuno Mendes, you know, there isn't a wide player in the game that wants to come up against that, because not only is Nuno Mendes physically strong. I mean, he's probably one of the most quickest fullbacks I've ever seen. I can't think of a quicker fullback than him. I mean, I'll go as far as saying, you know, Carl Walker was one of the most quickest right backs in the game. Obviously, he's slowed down now, but I think Mendes is probably quicker than him. Mendes is that quick from a standing start as well. You know, there's no wide player that would want to come up against Nuno Mendes. You know, and the thing with big up Gabriel Osborne, big up guys. Only 4 likes. Let's try and hit 10 likes at least, and make sure you subscribe to my channel as well at GavGoesIn. And big up yourselves and keep giving me your questions, guys. So the thing with Nuno Mendes is that, as I said, physically he's very strong and he's rapid. Like, I've never seen a quicker fullback from a standing start in my life. You know, his quality as well is there. You know, sometimes he does misplaced passes, but if you're any wide player coming up against that, you're going to find it a tough time trying to get past him, you know. And as I said, if we go through the whole of Portugal's lineup, you know, for me, Costa obviously saved the penalty. You know, the 2 goals, the goal from Zubimendi, who I thought had a good game. You know, there's nothing he could have done there. You know, and the goal from who's the other one scored? Mikel Raffabel. To be fair, that was a very good finish. You know, and I think in terms of the goals, could he have saved them? I don't think so. If we look at the defense, you know, why he plays João Neves as a right back? Again, he's just trying to fit players into the team, because Martinez doesn't want to drop Bruno Fernandes and doesn't want to drop Bernardo Silva. So what he does is that he just fits them all into the team, which means that you're going to play João Neves, that he wants to play João Neves, but plays João Neves at right back. And the problem there is that you've got 2 actual fullbacks on the bench in Nelson Semedo and Diogo Dalot. And the fact that he brought Semedo on to replace João Neves, you know, for me, that is poor management, because there's a girl on the screen. She's been caught laughing. Cute though, boy. But yeah, the thing with Nelson, with Roberto Martinez, is that he literally got away with one, because he should have played a right back in Nelson Semedo to start with, which he didn't. Ronaldo should have gone off earlier, definitely, to get a more mobile player on there. And if we look at Bruno Fernandes and Bernardo Silva, both players were ineffective. Bernardo Silva comes off, but Bruno somehow survives the whole game, you know. And to be honest with you, he was poor. He was poor the whole game, Bruno Fernandes. But again, people are probably going to ignore this, you know, and you know, and just think, oh, he's got a trophy for Portugal, which, yeah, he has. But let's be honest with you, man. He contributed nothing over both legs for Portugal to win this. You know, it was a nothing. Again, it was another anonymous performance from Bruno Fernandes, you know. And, you know, I think Martinez was lucky, man. I think he got away with one. You know, I think Spain will be kicking themselves, as I said, because there's no way Spain should have lost this game. Which brings me on to Lamine Yamal. And listen, Lamine Yamal, you know, for me, he's still the best player in the world. You know, one game for me is not going to change my mind, you know. And again, I think he was someone that he's someone, sorry, that has such high standards. You know, he has set the bar, you know, in terms of modern day football. You know what a player he is, and if he falls below that, people are going to be, you know, asking questions. And for me, it wasn't that Lamine Yamal was bad, because Yamal, you know, when he gets on the ball, you know, he's gonna make things happen, you know. But the problem is he come up against a Nuno Mendes, as I said, is just all wrong for him, because Nuno Mendes is just physically imposing and he's just rapid as anything. So, you know, people will be looking at, is Nuno Mendes is Nuno Mendes Lamine Yamal's kryptonite. And the thing is, you could say he is, because Yamal couldn't really get past him. But if anyone knows Yamal's game, again, Yamal's only 17, and Yamal's not someone that is just gonna dribble past or take on Nuno Mendes at any opportunity with his pace, because that's not the kind of player he is. Lamine Yamal is someone that wants to link. He wants to put balls into the box, and Mendes didn't allow him to get away with that, really. And again, you've got the best player in the world up against the best left back in the world right now, and it's probably fair to say that the best left back in the world, got the got nod in this one. But I expect those two to be battling each other, for the foreseeable, because you look at Nuno Mendes. I think Nuno Mendes might be, what, 21, 22. Obviously, Yamal's 17. And PSG and Barca are going to be two of the top teams in Europe. And I think you would expect those two teams to be coming up, or those two players to be coming up against each other, international and club-wise, more than once, But yeah, Rafael Leao, man, he changed the game definitely with his pace and that. He was a threat on that left hand side. I think in terms of Spain, again, I was surprised to see Pau Kabasi not play. So De La Fuente kept the same team. He kept Lenormand and what's his face, Dean Howson's the centre backs. He kept Cucurella at left back, changed the right back. Oscar Mingueza, formerly of Barcelona, played, and Pedro Porro did come on. And then in the midfield, Fabian Ruiz replaced Mikel Merino. And then it was Yamal, Nico Williams, and Mikel Rafabel. And to be fair, Rafabel's a very good player, man. The way he can link the play, and again, if he gets chances, he scores goals as well. I thought he played very well when he got the ball. But I think the problem is Spain didn't really kill off Portugal. And I think the substitutions were a bit weird as well, because I think with someone like, because I think Alex Baena is a very good player, but the fact that Baena hasn't really played any minutes, he didn't play nothing in the semi-final. To bring on Baena for Nico Williams, I think was the wrong move, because just like what Leao was doing for Portugal, Nico Williams was offering the same kind of threat in terms of that pace. So I think he should have kept Nico Williams out there, and the midfield, he changed Pedri and he changed Fabian Ruiz. Again, for me, I think that was a wrong move, because, Fabian Ruiz and Pedri, two players that can keep the ball, and even though Isco did come on, and Isco was very good when he came on, I think maybe, if you wanted to bring on Isco, maybe go for a false nine or something like that. I'm not too sure, because, Yamal obviously is a game changer. Rafabel was having a good game. Williams got the pace. And then you've got the midfield three. You might say Zubamendi, but he had a good game. So, it's quite hard for their changes. But I think the change of Morata to come on, I think was poor, personally. I think Morata, I know he missed the penalty as well, but I think Morata is one of those players that he needs to be starting the game. I think him coming off the bench, whereas, there's no match rhythm there, I think was the wrong move to bring him on for Rafabel. Because I think if Rafabel takes that penalty, I think he scores that. And so yeah, a few surprising changes. I mean, Pedro Porro coming on for Mingueza, was a no-brainer. So yeah, I think Spain will be kicking themselves, man, because they definitely had chances. And obviously he brings on Yeremy Pino for Yamal. And that's because he needed Yeremy Pino to help out with to help what's his name, Pedro Porro, defend against to help him defend against Rafael Leao, you know. And I mean, personally, I would never take off Yamal, and I think what they should have done really, is just play slightly deeper and leave Yamal on the break with his trickery, and probably play a false nine to drop in a bit more if you wanted to do that. But I think the fact that he took off Yamal, or even play Yamal through the middle, just so you keep him on the pitch, because Yamal's one of them players, he can change the game in an instance. And the fact that he took him off, I was surprised personally, because Yamal is someone that could take a penalty as well. But yeah, I think Portugal winning, you'll have to say in the end, I wouldn't say they're worthy winners, because I think for me Spain should have won it. But again, Portugal, man, they fought all the way to the end, and they've won the Nations League, man. But and guys, what does this mean for the Ballon d'Or? Because I think before the tournament started, I did say it, whoever wins the Nations League between France and Spain, they should win the Ballon d'Or. And to think Portugal have won that, I mean, what does that do for the Ballon d'Or now? Does it stay with Ousmane Dembele? Does Yamal still get it, or is there a surprise winner? Because I mean, I'm looking at Nuno Mendes, and Nuno Mendes won man the match, and rightfully so, best player on the pitch. But I'm looking at Nuno Mendes, and I'm thinking Nuno Mendes won a quadruple, and he's won the Nations League. So could Nuno Mendes win the Ballon d'Or, guys? I've never seen a left back, a defender, win the Ballon d'Or. But to be honest with you, he I don't think he's going to win it, but he deserves to be in the shout, man, because arguably he won that game for Portugal, because he was unbelievable, Nuno Mendes. I mean, what a left back. And to answer Sham's question, is Mendes the next Marcelo? I mean, you can't. I mean, to be honest with you, both players are not really comparable, because in terms of technique, Marcelo is way ahead. Technically, Marcelo is another level. In terms of left backs being that technical, but in terms of being a pure athlete, I don't think I've seen a fullback for a while that has that amount of pace and that amount of physicality that the likes of Nuno Mendes has. I think the only one that is comparable, as I said, in his prime, was Kyle Walker. Kyle Walker was physically strong, and he was rapid as well. And I think Nuno Mendes is possibly the new Kyle Walker, but of a left back, because I don't see a left back, with that profile, that physicality, and that pace in comparison to what Mendes offers. So I would go as far as saying, yeah, man, like could he win the Ballon d'Or? Because he's won 5 trophies. But who knows, man? Dembele or Yamal, I think might still be the front runners. But again, it's gonna be interesting to see who actually wins it now, because are they still gonna give it to Yamal, or is it gonna be Dembele because of the Champions League? Who knows? Or there could be a surprise person. We never know. But yeah, man. So Portugal winning the Nations League on penalties. The third place playoff, France and Germany. And you know what? That game didn't really surprise me, because having watched the Spain-France game, I did say, the level that those two teams were playing at was a higher level than what the Portugal and Germany game was. And I think the biggest problem for Germany, as we mentioned, they're missing their best defender in Rudiger, and also Nico Schlotterbeck as well, left-footed centre-back. They're missing the likes of, I'm not sure if Gundogan, I know Gundogan's legs, are getting on a bit now, but I'm not sure if he's retired yet. But Gundogan in the midfield, you know. Who else is there? Big up Broderick. They miss obviously Jamal Musiala, you know, as well. Kai Havertz obviously plays as a striker, you know, so they were missing key players that would start for them. And I think that was Germany's undoing, you know, because to score 1 goal over 2 games from Florian Wirtz, you know, just shows you why, you know, they are in a transition period, you know, for me. And as I said, man, I think they've got a lot of work to do. You know, they brought on a midfielder, to be fair, left-footed central midfielder. I didn't really know too much about him, called Tom Bischoff. But to be fair, I didn't realise he's actually just signed for Bayern Munich. And to be honest with you, he looks good. You know, left-footed central midfielder. Whenever I see a left-footed central midfielder, you know, they're going to be technical. And from just watching a quick 5 minutes of him, to me, he looks like he's got something about him, you know, and maybe he could be, you know, the Tony Cruz long-term replacement, you know. But yeah, I definitely think he's got something. But in the end, to be honest with you, France just had too much, you know. And, you know, I'm not Kylian Mbappe's biggest fan. I'll be honest with you. Like, in terms of, well, when I say I'm not his biggest fan, I think Mbappe's good. But the hype that he gets, I think sometimes is not justified, you know. But when he pulls on a shirt for France, you know, he just goes into demon mode. And today wasn't his greatest game, you know, because I think there was some chances he did miss. But you can't disagree. You can't criticize Mbappe, because let's be honest with you, you know, over both games, you know, I think the first game against Spain, I know Spain beat them 5-4, but for me, he was probably France's most threatening player, and he got the penalty as well. And in this game, you know, he got the goal and got the assist for Elise. And I think Mbappe, to be fair, could be happy with his performance as a whole. Because I did think he was good over both games, or decent over both games. You know, Ryan Cherki, good to see him getting a start as well in the 10. You know, I thought he played decent. But yeah, he ended up coming off as well for Elise. And Dembele didn't play any minutes. I'm not sure if Dembele's got a slight injury, but he didn't come on at all. Didn't start the game. And the problem, the thing that I said for France, and I thought France would struggle in this game to start with, because he played a front four of Ryan Cherki in the 10, Mbappe through the middle, and Kolo Muani and Marcus Thuram. And I think, you know, that attack there isn't really ideal. You know, you've got one technician in Cherki, and then you've got 3 runners in Mbappe, Thuram, and Kolo Muani. You know, and that balance there for me isn't good. But I think they just overpowered Germany in the end. You know, Germany didn't really have too many answers. You know, you got the likes of Nicholas Füllkrug. You know, he's got a lot of endeavour, but, you know, there's not really much end product there. I mean, Florian Wirtz can try his best, but the problem is, Wirtz is just doing it all on his own. You know, Adeyemi was a threat with his pace. But the thing with Adeyemi, he's very hit and miss. You know, I look at Adeyemi, he's very hit and miss. He's someone that, you know, he threatens to do a lot, but then, you know, doesn't really offer that much. And I think in terms of the 2 decisions that the referee had to call, you know, the penalty on Adeyemi, and then was it the goal? I can't remember the other incident. The referee got both decisions right, you know, and it's not often you say that a referee gets both decisions right, and he did. He got them both spot on, you know. But yeah, France end up winning the game comfortably, 2-0 to finish third. And as I say, Germany got a lot of work to do, but let's remember, Germany still got players to come back that will make a massive difference, you know. And but yes, France winning that comfortably in the end, you know. But guys, yeah, just going to go into some of your chats. Big up yourselves each and every time. So we're going to go into the chat. So Gamer says he predicted 2-2 Portugal. Penalties dreamed result, but I did think Spain was going to win 5-2. Yeah, listen, I didn't think it would be that high of a score, to be honest with you. I thought Spain would have won the game, as I said before, 2-0, 3-1. But to think it was 2-2, and if I'm honest with you, it was 2-2 because, you know, I think if I look at both of Portugal's goals. The first one came from, who was it again who scored the first one? Oh, Nuno Mendes. Yeah. Great finish from Nuno Mendes. But it was poor defending. I think the way Nuno Mendes got in, and what Nuno Mendes does well than many other players that I've noticed, yeah. From a standing start, his acceleration is an absolute joke, you know. His acceleration to just burst off the spot is what makes him dangerous. And the goal that he scored was very reminiscent of that because, you know, he slowed down, speeded up, great strike into the bottom corner. And then the Ronaldo goal, again coming from Nuno Mendes, you know, standing start. And to be fair, Yamal couldn't do nothing because from a standing start, Nuno Mendes over the first couple of yards, as I said, is rapid, you know. And obviously the cross got blocked, deflected, and then Ronaldo was just too strong for Cucurella. And I believe if that was a central defender, I don't believe Ronaldo probably doesn't get the strike off, but Cucurella isn't physically imposing. And as I said, I think Ronaldo, obviously fox in the box as he is, done well to get that. But I think Cucurella needs to be stronger there, you know. But yeah, as I said, I didn't see it going all the way to penalties. But in the end, you know, you'd have to say that Portugal got the job done, you know, and yeah, Spain will be kicking themselves, man. Definitely. Sham says, I said I wanted Portugal to win for Ronaldo. I think a lot of people probably did. But as I said, Ronaldo was poor in the game. I know he got the goal. But I did say before the game started, you know, if Martinez plays Ronaldo's going to be a passenger for the majority of this game. And he was. Because when he was getting the ball, you know, he wasn't holding it up. He was losing it, getting tackled. And he should have come off earlier. And then obviously, you know, as football goes, he got a chance and scored. And I think this is all people care about, really. But he was poor, to be honest with you. Let's be honest. But again, another trophy for Ronaldo. 40 years of age, another goal. And for his fans, you know, they're going to be going crazy tonight. And you can't really blame them, you know. That's what I will say. But yeah. Gamer says, anything can happen. When I saw Spain concede 4 within 20 minutes, substitutions or not, anything could happen tonight. You know what? I 100% agree with that because I think what would have been concerning for Spain is that when you're 4-0 up, to concede, you know, 4 goals, you know, is concerning. And again, I was pretty surprised. I think I see Aymeric Laporte as well on the bench. And I'm surprised. I'm not sure if Laporte's injured or not, or he just he's not favoured anymore. But you know, you had Laporte on the bench. You had Pau Kabasi didn't get no game time over 2 legs, which I was surprised about because obviously before coming into the Nations League, you know, Pau Kabasi was playing more than Dean Howson, and Dean Howson's played literally since he's got the move to Real Madrid, has played both games. So I'm not sure what that was about. Even though I do think Dean Howson's good. But Kabasi, Laporte didn't get no game time, which is surprising. You know, could they have made a difference to their defence? You know, possibly. But yeah, as Gamer said, to concede 4 goals in 20 minutes against France, you know, that is always concerning. And again, Portugal would have fancied their chances, but never did I see Portugal winning this game because, as I said, Spain were dominant. But you know, substitutions and not taking the chances ultimately cost them. The one from Nico Williams in the first half, again, I think I said at the time that's going to cost them because he went through and it's like he gave Ruben Diaz a chance to get back and get the tackle in, you know, which was weird, but is what it is, isn't it? So Sham says his age is showing, but respect to him regardless. Yeah, listen, I mean, you have to respect Ronaldo for the shape that he keeps himself in at the age of 40. You know, like his dedication and his discipline, you know, it can't be ignored. You know, he's probably one of the most professionally disciplined players that has ever been, which is why he can keep himself playing to the age of 40. You look at someone like Pepe, who was in the stands. And what a great defender Pepe was. Pepe and Ronaldo are probably about the same age. And Pepe's retired and Ronaldo's still playing. So it just shows you it just shows you the dedication and the commitment that Ronaldo has, and as I said, man, respect to him to be playing at the highest level. Well, I say highest level. I mean, international football is slower, but he's still playing international football regardless. And as I said, he wasn't great, but he got the goal, and I think that's all people are going to care about tonight. But yeah, the fact that he's still in shape at that age, and still getting around the pitch, can't be underestimated. Definitely. Yeah, the XR says Mendes, what a player. Yep. Listen, best left back in the world, no doubt. Top player. DXR says Diaz was good too, right? Do you know what? I thought Diaz was decent, to be fair. I think the one where he got back at Nico Williams in the first half was key for me. But I think that Williams gave him a chance to get back, if I'm honest, because Williams looked like he was waiting for him to make contact, and then Diaz managed to kick the ball off of Williams to get a goal kick, which I think was pretty poor from Williams. But Nico Williams does this, he has moments where you think he looks dangerous, and then moments where he looks poor, and yeah, that was one of them, definitely. So Gamer says, why they took off Yamal off? So what he done, he took Yamal off to put Pino on because Pino tracks back. For me, I would never have done that because Yamal's a match winner. No matter how quiet Yamal is on the pitch, he has the ability to just change a game on its head. And what he done is that he took off Yamal to put on Yeremy Pino. So Yeremy Pino could help out Pedro Porro in dealing with Rafael Leao. Which, for me, I understand the substitution. But in that sense, he should have just put Yamal through the middle in that sense, because as I said, Yamal has the ability to just get the ball to create a chance out of nothing, but he took off Yamal for Pino and then put Morata on for a Rafa. Again, I thought that was the wrong sub to do, but it is what it is. Hey yo, the Bruno Fernandes bias is mad, innit? Listen, Bruno Fernandes is one of the most overrated players I've ever seen. The fact that, and this is why I don't rate Roberto Martinez, because Martinez is a coward, really, because he doesn't take off Bruno Fernandes. He's reluctant to take off Ronaldo. And I'm a big fan of Bernardo Silva, but Bernardo Silva isn't the same player he once was either. But because this manager wants to fit all three of them into the team, and then he wants to play João Neves, you're leaving two actual right backs on the bench, and then you've got to rectify your mistake in taking off Neves anyway. So it don't make any sense what he's doing, really. But yeah, Bruno again, another final, and he goes missing. But people are going to look at, oh, Bruno's got a trophy, but he had nothing to do with that win. Let's be honest, because he was non-existent in the semi-final and the final. And again, I'll say it again, the only thing Bruno Fernandes done was complain to the referee at every opportunity, and that's all he does. So yeah, he was poor. Very poor. I said the other day, Martinez isn't a top manager, but he's got his trophy on his managerial CV now, says Sham. Yeah. Yeah, Martinez, for me, I think when I first saw Martinez, club-wise, I thought, he's quite a decent manager. And to be fair, he's never really got the job done where he's been. And then, obviously, he went to Belgium. He couldn't get the Belgium team over the line. But to be fair, he's got Portugal a trophy, so, his stock's obviously going to be slightly higher now, But to be fair, that Portugal squad is stacked of talent anyway. So they were going to win something sooner or later. I think their challenge is to win the European Championships or the World Cup. And you would think with the quality they have, they should be there or thereabouts. But for me, over both games against Germany and against Spain, they weren't convincing in both, and you could arguably say they got away with it. But they just had a special player in Nuno Mendes on the night that one scored the goal, second one, he had a hand in it, scored a great penalty as well, and stopped arguably Spain's best player. So, yeah, it was Nuno Mendes' night, man. And, yeah, what a performance. But yeah, I think Martinez got his hands on the trophy, and yeah, yeah, they in the end, you know, it's I wouldn't say they deserved it, but and the day it's a goal, man, isn't it? It's a trophy, man. But it is what it is. So DXR says, who was the player on the right wing again for Portugal? It felt like he put in work. So you got Pedro Neto, Rafael Leao, Francisco Conceição. So Conceição started in the first half and come off second half. So you might have been him. Media is really bad, man. They proper put pressure on these young ballers. Yeah, Conceição, yeah. So yeah, but the media put pressure on players in general, man. You know what I mean? So if you're someone that's liked in the media, like you're fine, man. You're protected, because this is what the media does in this country. You know, they just protect certain players. You know, and then certain players will always get given criticism regardless of what they do. Yeah. So Sham says, I didn't know Mendes is only 22. Wow, what a left wing back. I remember how he had Salah in his pocket in the Champions League quarter final. Yeah, listen. Obviously Mendes is a left back, not a left wing back, but he can play left wing back. Yeah. As I said, man, he physicality and his pace. There's not a winger that wants to come up against him. Not one winger in the game, because he's gonna get the better of you 9 times out of 10. Because you know he can match you physically and pace wise. You know, I don't think I've seen a quicker fullback than Mendes, and especially from a standing start, he's an absolute problem from a standing start. So yeah, man. As I said, I've spoken about Mendes a lot. Only 22, you know, and as I said, PSG have the best left back in the world. Portugal have the best left back in the world, and yeah, he's going to be that for many years to come. Because as I said, in this era of football now, where it's an athlete's game, he excels at both the physicality side of it and the pace, and he's got quality as well. So to win 5 trophies this season, you know, you have to try to kind of put him in the conversation for Ballon d'Or, even though a left back's never won it, and I don't expect him to win it, but he's got to be in the conversation, definitely. Yeah, as DXR said, imagine Mendes wins it. Listen, it would be crazy if Mendes wins it. And would I like Mendes to win it? I would, because it would be unheard of. But I don't think Mendes will win it, because as we know with the Ballon d'Or, you know, stats and numbers have a massive, massive factor in this. But I think if we're being honest, you know, he definitely deserves to be in the conversation, you know. Oh yeah, Uriah Rennie, guys. If anyone remembers Uriah Rennie, ex-Premier League referee, passed away today. You know, black referee as well. You know, which are very rare, obviously in the Premiership or in football in general. But yeah, he passed away today, man. So rest in peace, Uriah Rennie. Big up, man. Rest in peace. Dembele or Yamal for Ballon d'Or. I think they might be the two. Big up to Kareem. DXR says, who is everyone betting on to win the World Cup next year? You know what? That's a good one. I think the usual front runners are going to be in there. You know, Spain, France. You know, you'd have to say Portugal might have a chance now, even though I don't think they will. But the South Americans, you know, Argentina's, Brazil. The thing is, I think this could be the first World Cup in a while where I don't think there's going to be an outstanding favourite. I think I would have said Spain, but having seen Spain just get beat on penalties, you know, there might be vulnerabilities there in their team. But I think this might be the first World Cup that we might say, you know, there's not a clear winner, you know, because we look at Argentina, who are the holders. You know, Messi's getting on now. You know, they got a new wave of Argentinian youngsters coming through. Obviously, Franco Mastantuano's gone to Real Madrid today. And again, guys, I don't really understand. Well, I do understand, because Real Madrid always buy the best young talents in the game. But for me, if Mastantuano comes straight into the Real Madrid squad, I don't understand that, because Arda Güler's still there. And Arda Güler's a top player. So you would think Mastantuano is coming in to replace Arda Güler. and Arda Güler must be going out on loan or something or leaving permanently. Because I don't understand why you would sign Mastan Tuano and then have Arda Güler still there. And guys, if you've seen my I done my next gen 50, the latest Real Madrid target, 16-year-old Azadine Uzani, you know, and Real Madrid are chasing him from Monaco. And again, he's obviously has comparisons with Zidane, you know, and he's a right-footed attacking midfielder. So could he be the one to replace Brahim Diaz? You know, could they be moving on Brahim Diaz and Arda Güler and bringing in these two 16 and 17-year-olds? You know, this is why I like Real Madrid, because they're always thinking for the next wave of youngsters. But I didn't understand it because Güler's still there and Güler's still young, you know. So what's going to happen there? You know, I can see Güler probably leaving. Where he goes, I'm not too sure though. But yeah, in terms of who's going to win the World Cup next year, again, I haven't got a clear favourite because I think there isn't one outstanding team for me. You know, there's a lot of teams there that, you know, have got a lot of talent, you know, and will be expected to go far. But as I said, I think I would have said Spain with Yamal and their team as a whole. But them not getting this game over the line, you know, I think there has to be question marks there. But yeah, I think you can't rule out the South American teams. But, you know, Brazil, obviously, it'll be Neymar's last World Cup as well if he gets himself back in that squad, which he should do. Messi, again, you know, you're expecting to be in that squad as well, last World Cup. But yeah, other than that, man, I'm not too sure. Because France, Germany, Spain, England for me, no. Yeah, Holland. Yeah, I'm not too sure, man. It's gonna be a tough one for me. So DXR says I'm sticking with France because too much power there. You know what? Yeah, I hear the France one, and obviously for me, I would love France to win it because France are one of my teams. But the only way France, for me, have a chance of winning the World Cup is if they sack Deschamps and bring in Zidane. Because I don't want to see Deschamps go into another World Cup. You know, I don't want to see that because for me, yeah, for me, I'm tired of watching Deschamps manage France now because the way he sets up, man, is painful. Because if I'm France's manager, you know, I'm just getting as much technical ballers on that pitch as possible. The fact that he had the cheek to play Kolo Muani and Marcus Thuram together with Mbappe and then Cherki in the 10, yeah, that just says it. That just says to me why I need him not there as France manager anymore. You know, guys, can you hear me, guys? Can you guys hear me? Just noticed my volume was down. But big up. So Sham says, Gamer, I don't know what Tuchel tried to do with that team selection. They played Andorra, not Spain, some part-timers. You know what, yeah, you know what, 100%. And this is what I'm trying to say to you about England. No matter who's in charge, you know, this team, like, it's the same old shit with England, you know. To play Andorra and beat them 1-0, you know, is an absolute disgrace. Andorra are part-time footballers, yeah. If you watch the likes of Spain, the likes of France, Germany, these teams, Portugal, these teams are putting 7-8 past Andorra easily without even thinking. And then England beat them 1-0 from a second half goal from Harry Kane, yeah? And again, you know, no matter who's in charge of England, it's the same old shit. To beat Andorra 1-0 is embarrassing. Let's be honest, you know. People will say, yeah, but they won the game. Yeah, but they should win the game. But they should win the game by about 9-10 goals. And to beat them 1-0, man, is poor. Like, and this is what I'm trying to say to you. Like, England, when they come against the very best, ain't going to do anything. Because if you're beating Andorra 1-0, you know, yeah, good luck. You know what I mean? Broderick says, Mendez's physicality is a joke. He locked up Yamal, athlete with skill. Yeah, listen, man. Mendes is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous, man. As I said, by far the best left back in the world. And he's gonna be that for a while, because if I look at left backs right now in the game, I look at of his age profile, the only one I see really of reaching that level is probably Alejandro Balde at Barcelona. I look at Teo Hernandez. Obviously Teo Hernandez is slightly older. You got Milos Kerkez as well. Who looks very good. Um, who else is there? You got Alvaro Fernandez, who's just gone to Real Madrid. Obviously he's still got it to prove. There might be a couple of others as well. Eight Nori. Eight Nori just gone to Man City, so he's gonna be in with a shout, and what a player he is. But I think definitely Nuno Mendes right now is the best in the world, man. Definitely. No question about it. Big up to Fadimo Adan. Guys, come on, only 7 likes. Make sure let's try and get 10 likes. Make sure you hit the like button and make sure you subscribe to my channel at GavGoesIn. Big up yourselves. Great thing about Mendes is that he can defend and attack. He scored the best penalty in my opinion. Yeah, I agree, man. His penalty was clinical, to be fair. And for me, that just wrapped up. That just topped off a great performance. With that penalty. And yeah. So Fadumo says they have the goal machine. Ronaldo, more Ronaldo prop. Broderick says, big up DXR Mendes next level. Yep. So Your Way says, Yamal today has no space. It's a pity he was subbed, but I'm happy for CR to win it. Do you think Yamal still wins Ballon d'Or? Big up to Your Way. It's tough. It's tough because I said if Spain won this, regardless if Yamal played well or not, I said that, Yamal has to be the favourite. I think the fact that Spain and France both didn't win it, could Mendes be in for a shock Ballon d'Or win? Because let's face it, Mendes has won 5 trophies this season, quadruple with PSG, including the Champions League, and now he's won the Nations League with Portugal. So Mendes might be a shock one, even though I don't think Mendes does win it, but he has to be in the reckoning. Between Yamal and Dembele, again, I don't really know, because it's a tough one, because as I said before, Dembele's won Champions League and he's got the numbers. Yamal's got numbers and won a league title and a Copa del Rey. So Dembele for me has won 4 trophies and he's got the numbers. So it's tough, because if it's being done on the best actual player, then it has to be Yamal. But if you're doing it on numbers and trophies won, then it's Dembele. But then if you're going to do it on trophies as a whole, and impact, Mendes. So you could have them 3 in the reckoning. But yeah, who knows, man? We'll have to wait and see. But it's going to be interesting anyway. The XR says Zidane would be sick for France. I believe he would. And I think the thing with Zidane would play, an attacking team for me. I think the likes of Ryan Cherki, I want to see Paul Pogba back in that team as well once he proves his fitness and gets a club. Someone of his quality needs to be back playing football as soon as possible. Again, it's not been mentioned who he's going to, but I'm hoping that he's in Europe still, and gets back into that France team. Camavinga obviously didn't play as well, he's that injured. But France have got players that that are definite starters for me, I want to see the likes of, even if Martial comes back, because I look at Kolo Muani, Marcus Thuram, that they're not better than Martial. You know what I mean? If Martial, can get himself back in that French team with Mbappe, with Ousmane Dembele, Elise, Cherki, they'll have some frontline, man, because this is what I like about Deschamps as well. It's like he's hell-bent on playing Thuram and Kolo Muani, and these 2 players are not better than Martial, no way. So the likes of Martial, Pogba, Camavinga, all back in that squad, for me is a must. But again, man, have to wait to see when Deschamps goes, man. But hopefully that's sooner rather than later, you know. Man United was heavily linked to Mendes prior to his move to PSG. He only cost 32 million. You was linked to him this Jan transfer window too. It won't happen now as he extended his contract in Feb 2029. Yeah, listen, Sham, we were never getting Mendes. It makes me laugh, man, because there was links to him, but United would never get him Mendes. No way was United getting Mendes. Mendes is, as I said, the best left back in the world. And I think the links were only there because of Amorim managing him at Sporting Lisbon. But yeah, United were never getting him. Never. I mean, PSG would never let Mendes go anyway. And even when there was talk about him going, that was just speculation for a new contract, man. He was never coming to United, unfortunately. So Gamer says Rafinha could be the one to win it. Yeah, listen, I was actually thinking Rafinha, but I think what I would say is that the fact that, because Rafinha has the numbers and he's won just as much as Yamal, but I think the reason Rafinha will get overlooked is because I think if you're going to give it to a Barcelona player, I think even though Rafinha's got more numbers, Yamal would be ahead of Rafinha because I think of popularity, you know, performance as well. Even though Rafinha has been good as well, but I think Yamal will be ahead of him. But the reason Dembele's in the equation is because he's got the numbers and he's won Champions League with PSG. So that's why he's has to be one of the front runners for sure, you know. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting, man, and we'll see. But guys, on another note, yeah, so that's the Nations League all done. You know, obviously Portugal winning it, Spain finishing second, France finishing third, and Germany finishing fourth. And to be fair, you know, over the last few days, it's been a good Nations League. You know, I think all 4 games, to be honest with you, were actually exciting games, you know, which is something you can't say in the past. You know, a lot of international games have been boring. But these are the kind of international games you want to see. You want to see, you know, the top nations play each other. And I think all 4 games for me, you know, there was a lot of goals for one. And yeah, it was exciting, man. Some good games, you know, and obviously Portugal just nicking it, winning the trophy, I would say. But obviously news today, obviously you got the Club World Cup coming up as well. But hearing that Chelsea have had a bid rejected for Bino Gittins. Obviously Dortmund signing Jude Bellingham's brother as well. And the fee involved is mad. I think it's rising to, you know, just over 30 million, which I didn't see happening. You know, I think that's a lot of money from a player coming from the Championship, obviously into the Premiership, which is mad. But yeah, Bino, obviously, if you watch my Next Gen 50 as well, you know, I done one on Julian Duranville, Belgian winger. And I did say, you know, if Bino Gittins goes to Chelsea, then Duranville would get his chance to play more regularly. You know, he's only 19 years of age. And yeah, he'll get more game time. But what's mad about Chelsea is that Chelsea are building a mini Man City. You know, they've already got Cole Palmer, former Man City, Tosin Adarabioyo, obviously again former Man City. Romeo Lavia is there as well. Obviously Sancho was there on loan, and now they're trying to get Bino Gittins, and all them players there are all former Man City. So yeah, they're trying to build they're trying to build like a little Man City. And just think, man, if Man City would have kept all them players as well, you know, it's mad. It's absolutely mad what they could have done with some of them players. But yeah, they're trying to get Bino Gittins, obviously bid rejected. But I reckon the next bid that they go in for, that they're gonna make, they will get him. So yeah, 29.5, but Dortmund want 42 mil. You know, I reckon if they just offer probably 35 mil plus add-ons to reach about 40 mil, I reckon they'll get him. City signing, you know, Ryan Aït-Nouri for a bargain, 33 million, which again, I can't believe, you know, I can't believe they've actually signed Aït-Nouri. What a signing that is. And yeah, man, that's gonna make their team, you know, a problem, an absolute problem, with Reinders signed now as well. And then obviously Cherki coming in as well. So yeah, man, it's gonna be a massive problem. And yeah, I think obviously reports about Hoyland saying he's staying. I mean, that's not really news to me. He's gonna say he's staying. That doesn't mean the club want to keep him. And you know, the best thing that this club can do is just get rid of that guy because he ain't good enough. Yeah, he's poor, man. He's a poor player. You know. Looking like Dortmund want Sancho back as well, which I mean you could see happening. I would love Sancho to come back to United, and you know get some game time. But obviously his wage might be an issue. But we have to wait and see what the plans are because yeah, man, it's mad. But I think Sancho still has a lot to offer Man United. But it's looking like I think Dortmund want to be kept up to date with what's happening, you know. But yeah, it's a shame because obviously I say players of that quality, you want to see them, what I mean, at your club really. And Man United have, let's be honest, I think Man United have kind of, disrespected Jadon Sancho, which has led to him, obviously comments in the media, you know, but it is what it is. Chelsea, again, looking like they're going to get Mike Maignan. And Chelsea, man, as I told you, Chelsea are just, they're not, they're just going, they're going on a mazza, man, this season for players. New goalkeeper, Mike Maignan. Bino Gittins, I'm not really a massive fan of him, but obviously they see something in him, why they want to bring him in. And obviously ex-Man City as well. And and the things as well, you have to look at you have to look at what Man City have. I think it's Joe Shields is a former. I mean, Chelsea have an ex-Man City coach in there or whatever role he was doing. I think he might be technical director and Joe Shields. And obviously he's getting all these ex-Man City players that he knows that he knows from his time there. And they're only going to get stronger, Chelsea. And next season, as I said, man, they're gonna or even in the future, man, they're gonna have a serious team. As I said, William Esteval is coming in the summer. They got Dario Asugo who's added to their midfield. Although I don't think Asugo's gonna play much because they've got a stacked midfield anyway. But to bring in Mike Maignan as a goalkeeper, obviously said Bino Gittins already. You'd expect them to get another striker to go. Oh, sorry, Liam Delap, another one. So yeah, so let's go through it. So you got Tosin Adarabioyo, Romeo Lavia, Cole Palmer, Liam Delap, Jamie Bino Gittins. They're trying to get, and all five players are all ex-Man City, and they had Sancho there as well. So yeah, they're building their own little Man City there, man. And in the future, with what they got coming through, as I said, William Esteval, Asugo, Mike Maignan are trying to get in. They're trying to get another striker in, probably Ekatike as well. Yeah, they're going to be a massive problem in the future, man. Definitely. Gamer says, Man U going to make good moves this transfer window. Well, your transfer window shuts on Tuesday. So, well, yeah, there's only one player on Cunha that's coming. There's been links to other players, but nothing's getting over the line. Obviously, reports today saying that, Thomas Frank wants to take Mbuemo with him to Tottenham. That could change Mbuemo's mind because Mbuemo's got a manager there that he knows and he'll be playing Champions League football. So we'll have to wait and see there. So league is wrapped up with City get Cherki. Their rebuild is moving fast. Yeah, listen, I've already said that already. I said if Man City get Cherki, Reinders and Eight Nuri to go with Rodri coming back and the likes of Marmoush, another season stronger, and other players that they've got that might stay injury free. The title's theirs, in my opinion, and that's not going to change. And again, they've got the two players in Reinders and Eight Nuri over the line. They're negotiating for Cherki still, which they will get wrapped up. And I see the title being theirs, regardless of what Liverpool do. If I'm honest, I know they're bringing in Wirtz, which is a massive player, and they're trying to get in Kirkes and to go with Frimpong. But I think City will have a lot to say this season, man, because To bring in those three players, and again, they're three players that arguably come into their lineup straight away. Because for me, Cherki starts, not Cherki, Eight Nuri starts at left back, definitely, which will allow Gavardio to play left side centre back. Reinders goes straight into that midfield alongside Rodri. And Cherki, for me, goes into the 10 or from the right. But I'd say more the 10. So they've got three players that they've brought in that start straight away. Not to mention, you're getting arguably your best player in Rodri back as well. That's a starter. So yeah, you're getting four players there really that go straight into that lineup to start to go with what you've got already. They're gonna be a handful, man, 100%. So Gamer says Chelsea always somehow allowed to spend a lot. Yeah, listen, Chelsea always spend, man. Always. Like, I think they've spent the most money more than anyone, I think, since Bowley's come in. So yeah, they're gonna spend 100%, man. Yeah. DXR says so poor from Arsenal. Listen, Arsenal are just jokers, man. I don't really know what Arsenal are doing, They're getting Sesko in, which ain't gonna take them any closer to the title. They've had links to likes of Rodrigo. Rodrigo's not getting Arsenal, man. Let's be honest. Again, they've had links to likes of Leroy Sané, I think the only thing they're doing really is just signing new contracts for their players. But I don't really know where Arsenal are going with this, because for them to go in for Sesko is actually laughable, But as I mentioned already, we all know why they're doing that. But that's their choice, So Gamer says it opens after the 16th. That's they'll start signing. So I thought I heard this the transfer window shuts on Tuesday. Is that because of the Club World Cup? They're shutting it for that period. Let me know, guys. Put it in the chat. Let me know what's happening with the transfer window, if it's open or not. Arsenal defo falling off this upcoming season. Yeah, listen, I've said this season, Arsenal for me are going to finish fifth. I said fifth. I reckon City, Liverpool, Chelsea, and Newcastle all finish above them. And if United get the right signings in, with one game a week, who's to say that United won't finish above them? But I think Arsenal finish fifth for me, yeah. I've never seen or followed Wirtz play. All I know he's highly... Listen, Florian Wirtz is one of the best players in the world. I think for Germany in this Nations League, he wasn't great, but, for the quality that he has, and big up DXR, yeah, Florian Wirtz, if we're talking about number 10s, he's probably the best number 10 in the game right now, in terms of his quality, his creativity, and the numbers combined. So, yeah, he's definitely a player, man. For me, Wirtz is a Barcelona-type player, but obviously Barca can't afford him. But yeah, he's a top player, Florian Wirtz, man, 100%. How do you see the English clubs doing in Europe next season as things stand? How do you rank them? Well, City, for me, will be a lot better than they was this season. So I think City... will be looking to at least go to the semi-finals of the Champions League next season with the signings they've made as well. Liverpool with Florian Wirtz coming in, Frimpong and Kirkers to go with their squad. Again, they'll be expecting a semi-final. Chelsea and Newcastle. I think Chelsea probably, obviously the new format, I think Chelsea and Newcastle have the capabilities to qualify for the later stages. But I think Newcastle will need to spend some money, and they ain't spent nothing at the moment, But for me, Man City and Liverpool, 100%, I think, 100%, I think they qualify. I think Arsenal as well probably will qualify as well. But I think if Arsenal meet a top team, as I said, in the latter stages, I think it's good night for them, But I think, yeah, I think you'd expect all the English teams to qualify, not easily, but I think they will qualify. But I think if they meet, as I say, the likes of your Barca's, Real Madrid's, PSG's, Bayern Munich's, You know, I think they could come unstuck with it against them kind of teams, but we have to wait and see. 100%. So Gamer says, yeah, only 6 days shut. So transfer window opens in 2 distinct periods due to the FIFA Club World Cup. The first is from the June the 1st to June the 10th. And then again from June the 16th to September the 1st. The window then closes on... Oh, okay. So it's shutting... Okay, so it's shutting on Tuesday. But then it's open again on the 16th to September the 1st. All right, fair enough then. I didn't even know that. Chelsea somehow have the highest PSR spend capability for next season at 500 mil. Yeah, listen, I heard about that. Yeah, but again, just look at how Chelsea sell their players, man, and how they bring their players in. That has a lot to that has a lot to do with it. You know, Chelsea's business, to be fair, is very good. You know, very very good. So that's how they've been allowed to go and do that. You know, but guys, listen up. Big up yourselves for coming on each and every time. You know, obviously you've got 8 likes in there. So if you're just coming through now, make sure you smash the like button. It's at least hit 10 likes. And make sure as well, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, make sure you do at GavGoesIn. And I'm going to be back tomorrow, guys. So I'm going to be doing a wrestling one at 12 o'clock. I think I scheduled it for. So obviously the recent Money in the Bank that just happened. So I'm going to be talking on that. Big up to Sagar. Sagar says, where are you from, brother? I'm from the UK. Big up yourself, man. So yeah, guys, make sure you join me tomorrow at 12 o'clock. As I said, if you're a wrestling fan, make sure you join me. We're going to be discussing the recent Money in the Bank ladder matches for the men and the women's and the results from there tomorrow at 12. And then also, guys, I'm back at 5 o'clock as well. So I've got another guest coming on tomorrow, you know, to discuss some football about the current transfer window, how it's been going, and just general football talk. So yeah, if you guys want to come back through tomorrow at 12 and 5, make sure you're there. Again, smash that like button. There's only 7 likes at the moment. So smash that like button and subscribe to my channel at GavGoesIn. And big up yourselves each and every time, guys. Big up all the mods. And yeah, I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Take it easy.